Daria Morgendorffer is a cynical, antisocial high school student who kind of hates most people.
I don't have low self-esteem. It's a mistake.
I'll say.
I have low esteem for everyone else.
But probably her greatest enemy is her younger sister, Quinn. Quinn is the exact opposite of Daria. She's bubbly and outgoing and obsessed with popularity.
And what are your priorities, Quinn?
1 dating, 2 shopping, 3 bouncy hair, 4 school.
But over the course of the series, something really cool happens. Both Daria and Quinn encounter situations that force them to evolve, which leads to more understanding between them. I remember watching Daria back in the day, and I remember thinking it was a pretty good show. Despite being a teenage boy, I liked it even better than Beavis and Butthead, the show it spun off from. Daria is a bitter, disaffected teenager, and as a former disaffected teenager myself, I felt a kind of kinship with her back then.
Daria, do you have to look at everything in such a negative light?
Could you possibly be referring to the harsh light of reality?
But time went on and I got old and started to develop like joy and self-determination. And these days, I think that sort of cynicism is kind of obnoxious, so I assumed that I wouldn't like the show as much as an adult. But it turns out it's actually really good, and all of the characters, including Daria and Quinn, are written with a surprising amount of depth and thoughtfulness.
I'm too smart and too sensitive to live in a world like ours at a time like this with a sister like mine. Maybe I do miss out on stuff, but this attitude is what works for me now.
Daria has this tell it like it is attitude, and she has plenty of fair grievances about the state of society.
Whether or not I deserve anything is irrelevant, assuming you run your scholarship program the same way you run your company. Since the token women and minorities you hire rarely move into upper management.
I think her willingness to call out BS as she sees it was cathartic to many young viewers in the late 90s. But at the same time, her negativity and inflexibility with her principles often alienates the people around her. Of course, Daria doesn't care about most people's feelings, which might be a problem in and of itself, but sometimes she pisses off people that she actually respects, like her best friend Jane. Like in this episode, Jane decides to join the track team at school, but Daria is hesitant to support this because it goes against her ideals of nonconformity.
Land that big sneaker endorsement yet?
Nah, they wouldn't meet my price. Today's our first track meet. I wouldn't mind if you were there.
Oh, well, you know how I hate to cancel my line dancing lesson, but okay.
Cool.
The question is, am I supporting my friend or her surrender to the system?
So I tried something different. I went out on a limb and I participated in something and it worked out. Why do you have to be so pissy about it?
And Daria actually gets called out for her bad attitude many times by different characters, which I wasn't really expecting during my rewatch. I just assumed that the show would always present her point of view as correct, which is definitely not what happens.
You realize your negative approach to everything is self-defeating, right?
Well, it's nice to know there's someone I can defeat.
Quinn, on the other hand, initially comes off as shallow and materialistic.
Quinn, how was your day?
It sucked. First, my teacher gave my paper on Cleopatra's makeup don'ts an F. Like he would know. Then my heel broke. Then, like, the day was almost over and only 2 guys had asked me out.
But she clearly has more going on under the surface. Like there's an episode where Quinn and her crew decide to organize a clothing drive for the homeless, but they're all so vain that they just keep buying things for themselves instead. And Quinn is the only one in the group that shows any guilt at all.
Is the box full, Quinn?
Actually, it's kind of empty. Maybe, we shouldn't be so picky?
Not enough for her to actually do anything about it, but it's an example of how Quinn is just a little bit more evolved than the rest of her friends. Just a little bit. But she's been conditioned to prioritize her looks and reputation over everything else.
If you can see any of my pores on camera, I swear I'll kill you. Stop the tape! I do not have pores! My pores are cute! My pores are tiny! You're fired!
Now, I know it's not unusual for siblings to argue and fight, but it clearly goes deeper than that for Daria and Quinn.
She's well-liked among classmates of both sexes. And yet, strangely, she turns my stomach.
Daria resents her sister because of how fully bought in she is to the shallow priorities of modern consumer culture. Quinn sort of represents everything Daria hates. She's the embodiment of anti-intellectual vapidness.
Manatee. It sounds kind of European, don't you think?
Daria shows little respect for Quinn and in fact seems to enjoy torturing and humiliating her.
And the traffic was so tied up that my mom finally hands Quinn the empty soda cup and says, "Here, you gotta go, then go." I have this great picture at home of Quinn in her chubby stage.
And to be fair, Quinn is kind of annoying and maybe sometimes needs to be taken down a peg. And it's not like she's very nice to Daria either.
This is gonna work out for both of us. I mean, I get my essay written, and for once you have something to do on Friday night instead of sitting around like a loser, you know?
That's it, Shakespeare. Do your own damn homework.
She's so embarrassed of Daria, whenever they're in public, she pretends they aren't even related.
Librarian, could you return these magazines for me? Thanks a bunch, dear. So, where are you guys headed now?
But there's kind of a sadness behind it all. Quinn only behaves this way because she thinks it's the only thing she's good for.
You have to be good at something. You're good at your reading and writing and stuff, and you're good at your little paintings.
They are minuscule, aren't they?
I figure being attractive and popular, that's what I'm good at. Maybe it's not really important, but you know, it's what I can do.
In one episode, Quinn writes an essay that her teacher really likes, and so it gets published in the school paper. But this mortifies Quinn because she doesn't want to be perceived as smart. She thinks it'll make her less popular.
What am I gonna do? I can't be a brain. My friends will hate me.
It ends up having the exact opposite effect and bringing her even more positive attention, which she, of course, fully embraces.
Look, everyone, I wrote another poem while I was eating my fries.
Hey, my turn to read. The greasy fry, it cannot lie. Its truth is written on your thigh.
Wow, Quinn, that's amazing. Beautiful.
Genius.
I know.
Interestingly, Quinn's newfound reputation as a deep thinker is distressing to Daria.
The thing is, if she's a brain, what do I get to be?
You're still a brain.
Yeah, but she's a brain with bouncy hair. I can't compete.
This exposes a kind of hypocrisy in Daria's worldview. She criticizes people like Quinn for their shallowness, but when Quinn gets recognized as potentially having some depth, it makes Daria uncomfortable. Does Daria actually want the people around her to be better, or does she want them to stay the same so she can continue to feel superior? Although Quinn enjoys the attention, she drops the whole brainy act when it starts to drive her friends away.
Yeah, I didn't even write the essay. I found it in the garbage and handed it in, and then the whole thing was like a runaway train.
And this is a big difference between Daria and Quinn. Daria is strict with her principles and refuses to change to make other people happy. But Quinn basically does whatever she thinks will result in people liking her. I'm a little harder on Daria than I am on Quinn because Daria's the older sister, you know. Maybe she should be a little more patient because if she paid attention, she might notice that Quinn obviously cares about her and looks up to her, even if she would never admit it. Quinn is typically very confident in herself, but when she does need advice, Daria is always the first person she goes to.
The whole school is talking about how I got stood up.
You people just never want for stimulating conversation, do you?
I know! How do I make them stop?
By acting like you don't care what they think.
But I do care what they think. It's why I do what I do, wear what I wear, say what I say.
Or like in this episode, Quinn's friends make her feel self-conscious about her face.
I'm not perfect. My nose has imperfections.
That's imperfection, sweetie.
I knew it!
So she sneaks off to a consultation for cosmetic surgery, but she doesn't want to go alone.
I just need you here, okay?
Okay. Why?
Why what?
Why me? And not one of your hundreds of friends?
I need, someone who's known me for a while and who's like that thing.
What thing?
You know, honest.
Or like this episode where Daria has to drive out to the middle of nowhere to bail Jane out of jail.
Wow, sounds really brutal. But why are you in jail if he just gave you a ticket?
We're from out of state, so we're supposed to pay the fine at the sheriff's office right away. It's $100 and we don't have it.
Even though it's a hassle that doesn't involve her, Quinn insists on tagging along.
Okay, let's do it.
Quinn, what are you doing?
I'm not gonna just sit here while you drive off to some far unknown land to get your friends out of jail. What if something unexpected it happens.
Speaking of Jane, as I said, she's Daria's best friend and pretty much her only friend. And Daria's relationship with Jane could be its own video, so I won't get too deep into it for now. But both Jane and Daria have a cynical way of looking at the world, although Jane seems more amused by the state of the world than bitter about it.
You really want to do this?
You know, just because people are cliquey and snotty is no reason not to like them.
Daria and Jane are kind of an iconic TV friendship, so this is probably going to be controversial to say, but I'm not sure Jane is all that good of a friend for Daria. Like, she definitely cares about Daria, but I don't really get the sense that Jane takes Daria very seriously as a person.
Hi, I'm Daria. Go to hell. It won't work. My face is too expressive.
I guess you could argue that Jane gives the energy that Daria seems to want. Like, Daria usually seems pretty uncomfortable with any kind of sincerity or people trying to connect with her.
Ugh, I hate it when the pudding has skin.
I know what you mean. And that scares me.
Which is why it's a big deal when Jane actually does confront Daria about something. But outside of a couple of rare moments, Jane doesn't really challenge Daria, which is probably why Daria enjoys the relationship in the first place. Jane is that friend who keeps things fun and easy, but doesn't really contribute to your growth. I say this because, ironically, Quinn ends up inadvertently challenging Daria in this way on multiple occasions. On the aforementioned road trip, Quinn wastes the money Daria needs to get Jane out of jail, but is able to easily get it back by using her charm and charisma, and I guess also the male gaze.
Some friends of ours got pulled over by the sheriff recently. We brought the bail money to get them out, and now some mean old cowboy's stolen it. Now, I'm not saying all cowboys are mean or old or thieves, but it does make me think twice about ever considering a cowboy for a boyfriend.
Now, perhaps a couple of teenage girls walking unsupervised into a sketchy bar in the middle of nowhere would be a terrible idea in real life. I guess we probably all did brazenly dumb shit when we were teenagers, but it does show Daria that there may be some real-world value to being socially competent.
You fast-talking suburban gals and you just march in here and con some cowboys? Is that your game?
No, not at all.
You think we're a bunch of dumb hicks? What do you know about us?
I don't call them cowboys till I see them ride.
What?
'Cause a Stetson hat and them fancy boots don't tell me what's inside.
Hey, that's Conway Twitty. You like Conway Twitty music?
In another episode, Quinn starts to believe she has a guardian angel, which, in the context of the episode, is obviously intended to be a less contentious stand-in for religion as a whole. Daria is, of course, skeptical.
Damn it, my fixture!
Oh, Quinn, that just missed you.
I mean, yeah! Are you alright, sweetie?
Oh my gosh, if I hadn't gotten up at just that second, that would have hit my head.
Or something vital.
Someone or something told me to get out of that chair. Don't you see? This is proof that I have a guardian angel.
Guardian angel, huh?
At least he doesn't leave the milk out like when the Trix rabbit was staying with us.
I guess I can count you among the skeptics.
But after seeing how much this belief means to Quinn, she actually chooses to consider Quinn's perspective.
You know, I know guardian angels sound like a dumb idea, but once I started believing in them, it felt really nice.
Quinn, until I see some pretty convincing evidence to the contrary, I think we're on our own.
But that's so sad.
Then again, I don't have any proof that there isn't something out there. I think what makes sense is to believe whatever makes you feel best.
I think it's very sweet when someone puts aside her own strong feelings just to comfort someone else.
Sweet. Officer, you've got the wrong guy.
Okay, Daria, whatever makes you feel best.
So as the series goes on, Daria is kind of forced out of her sarcastic comfort zone and sometimes actually has to learn how to communicate with people. And it gets even worse when Jane starts dating this guy Tom, which results in her spending less time with Daria. So Daria doesn't have her chill best friend to lean on to as much. And this makes Daria resent Tom a little bit. This video is not specifically about Jane or Tom, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Tom is a big part of Daria's evolution. Here's a quick montage.
We'll pull up a bench. We'll order another pie.
No, I'll just get a slice. I'm only gonna stay a minute.
Want to borrow my stopwatch?
Hey, Daria, if you want me to leave, just say so.
Okay, bye now.
Hey, come on, Daria.
You don't like me, and that's fine. There's no reason you should.
I agree.
But it would be really nice if you could try and get along with me a little, at least in front of Jane.
Why should I?
Because she's your best friend?
Wait a minute. Was that a smile I just saw?
A twitch. More of a tick, really.
I knew you were having fun. Why hide it?
Hey, Daria left me a message about a Fellini film festival.
Oh, yeah? You gave Daria your number?
You did, so we could go rescue her from Mother-Daughter Bonding Day?
Right.
I guess she remembered the debate we got into on Fellini's symbolism.
I do, too. One of the best naps I ever had.
Hey, the cinema can be more than bursting eyeballs.
The cinema?
Wow, 7 o'clock. Sorry, guess I lost track of the time.
What was so fascinating?
We were talking about the Prince's influence on Lenin, Trotsky, and Ms. Lee.
Sorry I asked.
Hey, did you know Stalin had Trotsky killed with an ice pick to the skull?
Good thing they didn't put him in a glass coffin.
Anyway, Tom, I'll be down the hall whenever you guys are finished with morgue chat.
I'd better go.
I just mean the way you're always accidentally barging in on us and just happening to find yourself alone with him. I know you don't mean anything by it, so don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it? You're accusing me of having some kind of designs on your boyfriend, and you tell me don't worry about it?
Hair! Ow!
Sorry. As I moved to this town, and I knew immediately I'd be a total outcast. And in the one moment of good luck I've had in my entire life, I met another outcast who I could really be friends with and not have to feel completely alone. And then you came along and screwed the whole thing up.
All I did was meet a girl I thought was cool, and I went out with her for a while. We started to get bored with each other. It happens all the time. It's nobody's fault.
Because I'm not interested in you, and I'd be stabbing my friend in the back if I even considered it.
Exactly. And what kind of a jerk would that make me?
Exactly.
All right, then.
Okay. Damn it! Damn it, damn it, damn it!
I liked it, too.
That's not funny.
I know. That was definitely not funny.
Well, that escalated quickly, huh? Actually, it kind of developed over the course of a full season. This is the abridged version. There's a lot I could say about Tom. I don't really know how I feel about him. He seems like a nice guy, but he often comes off as gaslighty and manipulative.
So I admit I've been kind of sensitive lately, and, a little...
Distant? Cranky? Childish?
Yes, thank you so much for all the adjectives.
And, I mean, he did just kiss his girlfriend's emotionally vulnerable best friend. But then I have to remember that all these people are in high school, and that just goes back to what I said about being brazenly dumb sometimes.
Tom and I broke up.
What? Not because of me?
No, not because of you. So I don't care if you go out with him. It's fine with me.
Come on, nobody's that well adjusted.
I'm sure as hell not.
So you don't hate me?
Of course I hate you. You tell me you're gonna stay away from him, and 5 minutes later you're making out in a car. Why'd you even get in?
I thought we were gonna talk about you. I think that's what I thought.
In the first Daria movie, Is It Fall Yet?, Daria is forced by her mother to participate in a special summer camp for sensitive children. And there she meets a depressed, angry kid named Link.
Look around, Daria. Everybody's so busy being their own best friend. Maybe they should try buddying up to the people they brought into the damn world who never asked to be born.
As you might guess, she sees a lot of herself in Link. They share a pessimistic and bitter attitude about life. But she can also see how sad and angry Link is, so she feels compelled to try and help him. Perhaps she doesn't want him to grow up to become the high school outcast that drives everyone away, which is basically her life.
Look, for what it's worth, when I was your age, I, had this friend who was kind of like you. The only people she liked were the ones in books, and she spent most of her time in her room, convinced the world had been quietly taken over by a race of idiot space aliens.
And then one day your friend grew out of it and went on to make many more friends, and now her life is one big bowl of cherries.
Okay, bad example.
It seems as if Daria isn't getting through to Link, but she later realizes that she in fact did.
Here, this came for you.
And maybe this helps to teach Daria to be more open to building relationships. Even if the world sucks sometimes, that doesn't mean you have to shut everybody out. And around this time, this is basically the final 2 seasons of the show, we do see Daria start to become more open-minded about connecting with other people, including Quinn, as we've seen, but also her parents.
So you get carried away with the job. Big deal.
You're just as committed to the family.
I try to be.
You're very grounded. It's why you're half crazy.
You really don't hate me for working so hard.
And even Tom.
I don't believe I'm about to say this, but you should give Tom another shot. He's not a bad guy. And you could use the recreation.
What about the whole "you stabbed me in the back, how could you" thing?
I think I actually am over that, as opposed to when I said I was over it but was really still under it.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. She's pretty okay, too.
Yeah, I know that. Hey, Daria.
Hey.
You want to go for a ride?
Actually, we were just...
Saying goodbye. I'll call you later.
See ya.
While Daria was off trying to mentor Link, Quinn was dealing with her own frustrations.
9:40.
9:02. 9:55.
9:56. I guess we're all of comparable intelligence.
Let's say you got a certain score on a test, and it wasn't terrible, but some other people got almost the same score. People you really thought you could do better than, although for personal reasons you'd rather not name them or say why.
This is partly because she wants to get into her party school of choice, but it also reveals that Quinn knows she has potential to succeed academically. She just never prioritized it because of the reputation she wanted to uphold. And so she gets a tutor over the summer, but of course she sets it up so it doesn't seem like it was her idea.
Well, if you don't want a tutor, then...
Fine! A tutor it is.
The tutoring session doesn't really go well at first.
Sandy, hi. I'm kind of busy. She wore under-the-knee socks? No. Hang on a second. Where are you going?
Far, far away.
Sandy, I'll call you right back.
You have nothing interesting to say and no intellectual curiosity whatsoever. Do the world a favor and don't go to college. Give up your spot to somebody who wants to learn.
All right. I care. I want to do better.
Okay, then. The Middle Ages.
And so Quinn eventually starts to enjoy the lessons and actually absorb the material.
Mom, Dad, did you know Marie Antoinette never said, "let them eat cake"? That expression comes from a story about a princess written by Rousseau. Right?
Right.
And she also develops a crush on her tutor.
David, do you think I'm pretty?
Sure.
By the way, have you been to Chez Pierre? Because it's really nice if you ever wanted to take me there. And it would be kind of educational since we're studying French history and stuff.
Prior to this, Quinn basically treated boys as an accessory, another tool to help her gain popularity. But for the first time, she's met someone who actually believes in her and values her for more than just her looks. And so she kind of catches some feelings.
I like you.
I like you too.
No, I mean I like you.
Look.
I mean, I never thought I could really like someone who wasn't, really cute. Not that you're uncute, but you know what I mean. You don't try to be cute.
Quinn, look, when I go out, it has to be with someone who has, how can I put this? A certain amount of depth.
But I know stuff now.
Yes, but why did you want to know stuff? So you'd be able to get into a party school. Talk about a lack of self-esteem.
I have tons of self-esteem. I esteem myself more than anybody.
When it comes to appearance, but not in any areas that count.
After getting shot down by the tutor, who do you think Quinn immediately reaches out to for comfort? Her big sister, of course.
Damn it, I even told him I liked him. I never do that.
Quinn, sometimes you reach out to someone and all you get back is a slap in the face.
Then why even bother?
You gotta give people a chance. Otherwise, there's no point to the whole being human routine.
Why? David didn't give me a chance.
Sure he did. Wasn't he gonna quit before you begged him not to?
Yeah. So?
So you learned a whole bunch of stuff and found out you don't have to be a dummy if you don't want to. Because he gave you a chance.
You may have guessed this, but this is an example of that thing that happens sometimes when you give advice to someone else that you probably need just as much as they do.
Quinn, you're, not as superficial as you act. I'm sure you just feel obliged to stress the moronic aspects of your personality so you'll fit in better with the fashion drones. Like a mask you wear because you think they wouldn't like the real you.
You mean sort of the way you keep people away by being really unfriendly and stuff?
Hey, we're talking about you here.
And even though Quinn didn't get the guy, he does have a lasting effect on her.
Miss Morgendorfer,
Did you want something?
Manifest destiny was a phrase politicians used to say that God wanted the U.S. to keep expanding west all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Because why bother owning the country if Hollywood wasn't included?
Quinn, that's very good.
And it's not just the movie. A few episodes later, the teachers at Daria and Quinn's school go on strike due to their low wages. Miss Lee, the morally flexible principal, refuses to shut down school operations and so forces Daria to teach one of the classes in the teacher's absence, which just so happens to be Quinn's class.
I am proud to introduce a substitute with tolerable credentials who is far less liable to engender a lawsuit that could cost me my very pants.
Hello. My name is Miss Darlene, and I'll be your new teacher.
Quinn is, of course, not thrilled about this, but she does try to defend Daria from her friends, which is definitely a new development.
Quinn, are you taking notes?
No. I'm just, writing so that girl thinks I'm paying attention when I'm not really.
Who cares what a teacher thinks? They're such losers.
Yeah, ew.
She's not a real teacher, Sandy. She's a substitute.
Oh, a substitute loser.
But Quinn is still troubled by the pressure of maintaining her reputation.
Daria, you know the test tomorrow? It's gonna be easy, right? Because if you make it really hard, some popular people won't like it and might take it out on another completely innocent popular person. And besides, it's good to help the popular, because if you don't, it might make you even more unpopular. Although I don't know if such a thing is possible. Daria, do you want everyone to hate you?
Hey, why should you go out of your way to protect the stupid? You're not one of them.
Daria admitting this to Quinn is also a pretty new development. Throughout the series, Daria has never had anything nice to say about Quinn, especially when it comes to her intellect.
Sandy said we have plenty of time to catch up next year.
What about all the new things you'll have to learn then?
Yeah, the second half of the alphabet is even harder than the first.
The fact that she's now admitting that Quinn is actually not stupid is significant and shows the evolution of their relationship. And although Quinn doesn't acknowledge it directly, I think this means the world to her.
Seems to me all she tried to do was make the best of a bad situation. Maybe we should cut her some slack.
See, there she goes taking sides again. You two are so nice to each other. You're almost like sisters.
I'm not taking anyone's side, Sandy. I'm just saying that sometimes people get put in awkward positions. Besides, why shouldn't I act sisterly towards her? After all, she's my sister.
In the second Daria movie, Is It College Yet?, which also serves as the series finale, Quinn gets invited to a college party where she realizes that the things she cares about, the things that make her popular, actually don't matter all that much outside of her small high school world.
I wonder who her designer is.
I know. Alicia's dress is awesome.
You like it?
Sure. That's what you meant, right? You weren't trashing her.
No, of course not.
I didn't think so. You're not the type who is to build herself up by putting others down. I hate people like that.
Yeah, me too.
And then when she realizes that one of her college friends has a drinking problem, I think this clues her into the fact that there's real shit happening out in the world. People have real serious problems beyond figuring out which boy to date or putting together the most fashionable outfit.
Let's just pick up some wine and hang out in the park.
Lindy, are you sure you want more to drink? It's getting kind of late.
That's what the morning's for. Sleep. Now, where's my car?
Lindy, maybe you shouldn't drive. Come on, I'll call us both a cab.
And as usual, Quinn goes to her big sister for advice. But this time, Daria is in need of some comfort herself.
Just, if you had a friend and you knew she had a problem, but she didn't, would you tell her?
Huh?
This girl I was working with, I think she has a drinking problem. If I don't say anything, I'm afraid she'll get in an accident or something, but if I do say something, she'll probably never speak to me again. Not that she is now.
I don't really feel qualified to give any advice on interpersonal relationships today.
Why not?
I just broke up with my boyfriend. It's kind of a first for me. So's this feeling in my stomach like it's been through a paper shredder.
You broke up with Tom?
You sound almost as surprised as I was.
Why?
Because I felt we'd come to the end of our relationship for a bunch of reasons, and we should both move on.
So you said that to him just like that?
For some reason, I continue to opt for honesty, despite mounting evidence that it's inexorably transforming me into an old woman alone in a one-room apartment filled with 30-year-old newspapers and cats.
Oh, Daria, that's not gonna happen to you. I was at a college party. I know what goes on there. People are smart and nice.
So it's the opposite of high school?
You're gonna have friends and everything. I know it sounds hard to believe.
Gee, thanks. But, thanks.
To me, this is really great writing. You have these two characters who we can still identify. Daria is still sarcastic and cynical, and Quinn is still obsessed with her image and popularity, but they have clearly both evolved into more mature and thoughtful versions of themselves.
Given the unalterable fact that high school sucks, I'd like to add that if you're lucky enough to have a good friend and a family that cares, it doesn't have to suck quite as much.
It would have been so easy for them to make this cartoon show with wacky characters that never change or learn anything, but I appreciate that they didn't do that. But that's about it. Like I said, I remember watching Daria when I was younger, but I did not realize how great a show it was. I think it's one of my favorite shows now. It's very funny and well written, and it has an excellent cast of actually interesting characters. And there's so much that I could say about this show that doesn't really fit the scope of this video. So if you want more Daria videos, let me know. If you've been following this channel for more than a day, you probably know that I love comedy. I love the classics, but I'm always on the lookout for something new. And that's why I'm super excited about Abolish Everything, a new show that's a fun combination of stand-up, improv, and high school debate club.
Each night, gathered in our meeting house, 4 brave abolitionists will tell us why we should eliminate some aspect of society forever.
Abolish the dentist. Speakerphone. Beeps. Stretching. Yeah, here we bring it on!
And their testimony will be heard and rebutted by the political establishment, a panel of improvisers hell-bent on preserving the status quo.
The boys want to see ya, don't want to hear ya. So why do you hate what God gave to you?
Have you ever taken a lot of Adderall for your body?
The only way to stop a bad guy with a speakerphone is a good guy with a speakerphone.
At the end of the show, the people will decide what gets abolished, who gets this cartoonish stack of coins with a $sign on it, and who receives an invitation to our World Championship season finale.
This type of unscripted panel-style comedy is exactly the shit that I love to watch, and you can watch it right now as well, exclusively on Nebula. Nebula, as you probably know by now, is our creator-owned streaming platform, which has as of late started to add more comedy to its catalog, which I personally appreciate. But of course, Nebula also has plenty of thoughtful and smart films, documentaries, video essays, and other content that the platform has become famous for. There's a little something for everyone, and it's all ad-free and not that expensive, especially if you use my link go.nebula.tv/T1J, because if you do, I can get you 40% off, which comes out to just $3 a month. So don't wait, hit the link in the description or scan the QR code and go watch Abolish Everything on Nebula right now.